The next generation of Nintendo is upon us with the release of the Nintendo Switch 2, and with it we have seen new entries for Mario Kart and Kirby, but also a surprise return with a new 3D Donkey Kong game. The last time we saw a 3D Donkey Kong game was of course Donkey Kong 64 for the Nintendo 64, back in 1999, and people have been craving a new one since. Nintendo has many other games they have been sitting on that I think could use a new entry, and with the Nintendo Switch 2 feels like it could be a perfect chance to bring them back. Today's video will be going over 5 Nintendo games that should get a new entry as soon as possible, and starting off we will be talking about one of the most underrated racing games of all time, Diddy Kong Racing. Mario Kart World shocked people when it announced its open world mode, as it hasn't been seen in the series before, but Diddy Kong Racing back on the Nintendo 64 also had an open world hub area, where you could move around to find races, battle stages, or even boss races. I do think we should address the elephant in the room real quick though. No, not that one. I doubt Nintendo would release another game with Diddy's name in the title, so maybe just calling a sequel Donkey Kong Racing instead would be better. Many people speculated that Nintendo was completely trying to hide Diddy Kong, but he recently appeared in the new direct talking about Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I think he is in no danger of disappearing after all. Rare did try to make a sequel before called Donkey Kong Racing for the GameCube, but they were purchased by Microsoft and had to stop the project. But using Donkey Kong for a sequel does make sense, and as we've seen with Mario Kart World, they really could make the open world feel alive and have many hidden secrets to collect. I'm not sure who Nintendo has the rights to from the original Diddy Kong Racing, as it did feature Conker, who ended up with his own game, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and Banjo, who was obviously the lead in Banjo-Kazooie. And there were even plans for other games featuring some of the characters by Rare. But you could easily bring in other Donkey Kong characters such as Dixie, Cranky, Funky, Candy, and of course create brand new ones to help flesh out the cast. There is still a lot to play with the Diddy Kong Racing formula, and it is about time they try it again and see where they can take it. Now heading a bit into the future, let's talk about one of the greatest racing game series ever that seems to be somewhat making a comeback, FZero. FZero is a futuristic racing game that started back in the 90s and hasn't really been seen since FZero Climax for the Game Boy Advance in 2004. Yes, it technically did get a new game in 2023 with FZero 99, which was an online version of the original game but turned into a battle royale, and while it was a lot of fun, many fans, including me, want to see something new. FZero has a large cast of characters, each with their own backstories, and honestly some fun designs like Octoman, this octopus man, or Biorex, who formed a team called Dinosaur Racing. There are a lot of unique characters outside of those two, and each have their own reason for racing and what pushes them to win, or at least get noticed on TV. Captain Falcon, one of the characters from FZero, has also appeared in Super Smash Bros. Consistently since the very start. But with the roster of Super Smash Bros. Always looking to expand, maybe it is time to introduce newer gamers to more of the F-Zero cast, and bring another into the Super Smash Bros. Universe too. Seeing brand new characters designed for a new game in a universe where anything feels possible would be amazing to see, and I'm sure after so many years they have at least some ideas. I know Nintendo likes to experiment with cheats of their games, or at least have a brand new idea that makes it kind of refreshing, but I don't think there's a lot you need to change about the core of F-Zero. There aren't many futuristic racing games in the market at the moment, and racing games are still very popular, with even the Nintendo Switch's 2 big launch title being Mario Kart World. Adding in new obstacles and experimenting in the layouts of the courses should be enough to change things up. With GameCube games coming to Nintendo Switch 2, they are adding F-Zero GX to the catalog, which could be a great way to see if people want a new game in the series, or to even allow new players to understand the world of F-Zero, and then you could go fully in on pushing a new entry. In the end, after 2 decades without a new game, it is time to go racing in the Grand Prix again, and fans' demand keep rising the longer we go without a new entry. Heading outside the realm of racing games, this next series is one that has been around since the start of Nintendo's journey into console games, and did see a sequel eventually released for the Nintendo 3DS. That is right, Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus is filled with Greek mythological figures such as Medusa and Hades, and has become a cult classic over the years, with several characters appearing in various ways in the Super Smash Bros. Series. While the original Kid Icarus was a side-scrolling platformer, Kid Icarus Uprising for 3DS did turn the series into a third-person shooter. While the original game didn't get a ton of love until years later, Kid Icarus Uprising got incredibly positive buzz surrounding it. Now, minor spoilers, but if you finished Kid Icarus Uprising, there was a tease that the next game will be releasing in 2037. But With how popular Uprising is and still noticing people mention how they want another entry, I think the Nintendo Switch 2 could be the perfect time to bring it back. While Hades could possibly be defeated or dead, it wouldn't be impossible to find a way to bring him back or focus on other areas of Greek mythology and different interpretations of them for the series. If you kept with the third-person shooter gameplay for another sequel, the handheld system of the Switch 2 would be perfect. Or maybe they change it up again and use the new power of the system to allow you to explore a lot more of Angel Land. Either way, Kid Icarus Uprising released in 2012, which is over a decade since we last saw Pit on an adventure, and I think there's still a lot to explore in the Kid Icarus universe while you soar through the sky.
Sorry to keep you waiting. It's been too long, Lady Palutena.
Now this next one I feel I see asked for every single time Nintendo has a direct, and that is Golden Sun. Golden Sun is a role-playing series that has both a focus on combat and also solving puzzles using synergy, or magical spells that you learn along the way. I see Isaac from Golden Sun asked for a lot in Super Smash Bros, and if we do happen to be getting a new Smash Bros, and if they do plan on adding Isaac, then why not launch a new game too? There are a lot of RPGs that release all the time, but I think creating a new entry could still set itself apart as we learn new spells and figure out how they interact with different things on the map, focusing more on the puzzle side rather than just combat. Nintendo has gone back and done remakes recently such as Super Mario RPG and Thousand Year Door, and of course a lot of classic RPGs are getting remakes in general, so I think going with a remake of the original Golden Sun could be a little smaller scale, but could also test the waters on if people are interested. But really you can go to most comment sections and see people asking for the series to return. Camelot, the company behind Golden Sun, has been working on the Mario sports games since the release of Golden Sun Dark Dawn in 2010, but after the release of Mario Tennis Aces and Mario Golf Super Rush have been quiet since 2021. Maybe they are working on a new Mario sports game for the Switch 2, and we will see that soon, or maybe they are finally getting the chance to return to Golden Sun in an attempt to bring the series back. The final game is one I feel many may not know about, as only 2 games have released outside of Japan, but yet we haven't seen a new entry since 2006, and that is Custom Robo. Have you ever wanted to, well, as the title suggests, customize your robot with new bodies, guns, bombs, and more in an attempt to create the strongest robot out there? That is essentially the goal of the game as you battle in arenas trying to get different parts off the opponents you face. As I said, it has been nearly 2 decades since we last saw the series, and the GameCube version of the game is still one of my favorite games of all time that I go back to and visit. Imagine what they could do today with a new game, having so many new designs, items, and arenas. I often feel like games focus on trying to have the biggest map or so many secrets nowadays, when just having a nice simple arcadey feeling game could feel pretty refreshing. And Custom Robo is the perfect series for that feeling. Let us start off learning about Custom Robo and meeting a whole new cast of characters, and maybe even being able to take our Custom Robos online to face off against others or see what designs other people are using. There aren't many games that at least I have found that feel like Custom Robo did, and I keep hoping they revisit the franchise eventually and give it a second shot. In the end, there are so many franchises Nintendo seem to be sitting on, and maybe they didn't sell extremely well in the past, but gaming and the gaming audience in general have changed quite a bit, with many fans today having appreciation for titles they may not have had back then. It is expected that they can't always work on new titles to old franchises because they have their core franchises to keep up on, but having a new entry for FZero or Kid Icarus every couple years to keep these series alive would be incredible to see. It would also help make game lineups not so predictable and add some excitement when they are announced. What series do you hope Nintendo brings back during the Switch 2 generation? Do you hope to see any of the games mentioned in the video today? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.